In this video, I'm going to show you how to edit flat, boring looking images and make them pop. My name is Eustace, and if you want to see more videos like this one, don't forget to subscribe and smash that bell icon so that when I put up my next video, you will be notified. Let's do this. So the first thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to identify the highlights, the shadows, and the midtones in this image. To do that, I'm going to go to my actions, and then I'm going to select the dodge and bend check layer. I'm going to click on it. So this folder, let me just close this. It's going to guide me to see the highlights, the shadows, and the midtones in this image. Let me show you what I'm talking about. I'm going to add a blank layer here, and then I'm going to go to my tools. I'm going to select the brush. I'm going to go on the brushes here, and then I'm going to select the hard brush. To make this image pop, we are going to add the highlights, and then let me change the color and the shadows to this image. Let me just delete this layer. It was just for demonstration purposes. Let me just delete it. So this dodge and bend check layers, it's in my retouching actions pack. I'll put the links to where you can download my retouching actions pack in the description below. Let's start. I'm going to click on this box with a plus inside to add a new layer. And then I'm going to go to my tools. I'm going to select the brush. I'm going to go on the brushes here. I'm going to select the hard brush. I'm going to go down here, and then I'm going to click on this icon to reset this. I'm going to click on it like this. So to switch between white and black foreground color, I'm going to click on this icon, or I can just press X on the keyboard until white comes on top here. So I'm going to make my brush a little bit smaller, and then I'm just going to paint a line here. I'll make my brush a little bit bigger, and then I'll paint a line here. And then I'll paint another one here, and then I'll paint another one here, and another one here. So these are the highlights. I'll paint another one here. On my layers here, I'm going to disable the dodge and bend check layers. I'm going to disable this. I'm going to come here, and then I'm going to right click, and then I'm going to select blending options here. So this box is going to pop up. Let me just put it here so that we can see what's happening here. I'm going to go on underlying layer here. To remove this from the shadows, this triangle, I'm going to drag it this side. Once I start seeing the distortion in my lines, I can stop here. So to make this transition smooth, on the keyboard, I'm going to alternate on Windows option on Mac. There's a line in between the triangle. I'm going to drag the other part of the triangle this side. And then I'm going to click OK. And then I'm going to go to filter, blur, and then I'm going to select the Gaussian blur. I'm going to use the radius of 80, and then I'm going to click OK. So this is our before, this is our after, this is our before, this is our after. I'm going to go on opacity here. I'm going to drag it maybe to 65%, and then this is our before, this is our after. Let's now boost the shadows in this image. So I'm going to go down on this box. I'm going to click on it to add a new layer. I'm going to select the brush. So I'm going to click on this icon to switch between these two colors. So black is now on top. So I'm going to go on this image, and then I'll just paint here like this. And then I'll paint even this part like that. I'll make the brush a little bit smaller, and then I'll just paint this, and then I'll paint this side. I'm going to come here, and then I'm going to right click, and then I'm going to select blending options here. So this box is going to pop up. So I want to remove the shadows from the highlights. I'm going to do the opposite. So I'm going to go on underlying layer here. I will drag this triangle this side. Once I start seeing the distortion in my lines, I can stop here. I'm going to alternate on Windows, option on Mac, and then I'm going to drag this other part of the triangle to break it and to make the transition smooth. I'm going to drag it all the way up to here, and then I'm going to click OK. And then I'm going to go to filter, and then blur, and then I'm going to select the Gaussian blur. With the shadows, I'm going to use the radius of maybe 100. I'm going to type 100 here, and then I'm going to click OK. So this is the before, this is the after, this is the before, this is the after. The effect is touching this part. Even here, the effect is touching this part. So I'm going to go down here. I'm going to add a layer mask to this layer on top. I'm going to add a layer mask. Since the layer mask here is white, I'm going to change my foreground color here to black, and then I'm going to select the brush. I'm going to come here on top, and then I'm going to select the soft round brush. I'm going to select this. I'll just paint where I don't want this effect to be. So I don't want it to be here. This is the before, this is the after. I'm going to double click here, and then I'm going to name this layer as shadows. I'm going to double click on this layer, and then I'm going to name this as highlights. I'm going to select the shadows. I can see the effect is too much. I'm going to reduce the opacity to maybe 25%. So this is the before, our adjustments. This is our after. This is the before. This is our after. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to color grade this image. I'm going to go down on this circle. I'm going to left click, and then I'm going to select color lookup here. So I'm going to go to load 3D LUT. I'm going to select load 3D LUT here. I'm going to color grade this using my wedding LUT pack. I'll put the links in the description to where you can download my LUTs and my presets. Let me just move this guy here. I'll start with the champagne. I'm just going to double click on it. The effect is too much. You can just reduce the opacity 25%. This is the before, this is the after. Let me just take it to 100%. I'm going to go back to load 3D LUT. Then I'm going to select load 3D LUT. I'm going to try crisp brown. Okay, let me just go back to load 3D LUT. Let me try fountain. Let me try to reduce the opacity to maybe 50. Let me just use the sticker. I'll use this. Let me just take it to 100%. I don't want the effect to be on the background. I just want it to be on the model skin. So I'm going to right click here, and then I'm going to select blending options here. I'm going to go on underlying layer here, and then I'm going to drag this triangle. I'm going to drag it this side. So you can see here, I'm removing the effect from the shadows. So I'll stop maybe somewhere here. On the keyboard, I'm going to alternate on Windows, Option on Mac, to break this triangle and to make the transition smooth. So I'm going to drag this other part of the triangle. I'll stop maybe somewhere here, and then I'm going to click OK. If the effect is too much, I can just reduce the opacity to maybe 30%. So let me just close this. I'm going to go down on this circle, and then I'm going to select curves. I'm going to select this undo. I'm going to click on it, and then I'm going to select the shadows, and then I'm just going to left click, and then I'll drag it down like this, and then I'm going to select the highlights. Just going to left click, and then I'll push it up like so. Let me just move this up a little bit like this. So this is the before, this is the after, this is the before, this is the after. If the effect is too much, I can just reduce the opacity. Let me just close this. So this is before all the adjustments. This is our after. This is the before. This is our after. If you want to retouch fast and level up your retouching skills, you should check out my retouching actions pack. The link will be in the description below. And if you want to learn the best way to color grade your images, you should check this video here.